Hello, welcome and good evening. So in this video, I want to show us how to draft a basic female skirt, a pencil skirt. Now here I have written out my measurements or the rules guiding how to make a skirt. So the first thing you need to know is that you need to measure your waist circumference, your waist. Now the next is your hips. The next is your waist to hip, that's from your waist point to the hip point, right? And then the next you have is your skirt length. So now in making a pencil skirt, there are some hidden facts you need to know, and which let me explain it in under 1 minute. Now the first thing is, don't forget to subtract your band measurement from your skirt length. Now the next is the guide to get your bust span. So the guide to get your dart is on your bust span, right? The dart should fall on the line that your bust region is. So that is the guide to get a good dart position is on your bust span. The bust span means the distance from one of your busts to the other bust, right? Fine. So now, having known that, now the dart width should be 1 inch in total. That's ½ inch on both sides. You will see all of this in the cutting stage. And then the dart depth is 2 inches above your hip line. And lastly, for the back panel, 1 inch above your hip line. And the skirt needs to be slanted or slashed. So let's get down to the cutting proper. Alright guys, welcome back. So now we are trying to draft the skirt. So the first thing you need to know is that you must have these tools. So here is my tape, and here I have my ruler. I have my hip cuff. My hip cuff is very important, and I have my pattern master. So these tools are essential in drafting your skirt. So on this skirt drafting, we are going to add all the necessary allowance because we will not have time to cut on fabric. So I will cut this pattern paper like I am making I am cutting on fabric, right? So now I will use marker so that you can see clearly what I am marking. So this was the illustration or the rules guiding making a skirt. So here I have taken my measurements, and my waist is 36, hip is 44, waist to hip is 9. That's the waist to the hip point is 9. Skirt length is 25. So let's start the cutting proper. So if you were with your fabric, what you will do is to mark out your baseline as usual. But because I am working with a pattern paper, I will not mark out my baseline. So the first thing to do here is to mark 2 inches here. Now these 2 inches will serve you for the folding or hemming, right? Mark your 2 inches in this form. Mark the line all through, just like this. Now you have gotten your 2 inches properly marked. Now this is not part of your skirt length, right? It is only for hemming or folding. Now the next thing to do here is to apply your skirt length. So the skirt length I have is 25. It's 25, just like this. Now you are going to deduct the length or the width of the band you want to use on the skirt. Skirts do have band, right? Fine. So the band I want to use here is 1.5. You might decide to use 2 inches band, or you might decide to use 1.5 inch band. It all depends on your choice. So here, let us use 1.5 on our band measurement because I like my band to be small and smart. So I will minus 1.5 from my skirt length. I will mark in this form. That means my length is now 23.5, right? So you extend the line all through this way. Extend the skirt line all through this way. And you have the line coming in this form. So here is my skirt length. Don't forget that we removed 1.5 for the band measurement. So the next to do is to mark or apply your waist to hip. So the waist to hip is 9. Now at this point, don't start from here to mark 9. You are wrong, because the band is coming to make this to be 10.5. So still remove the 1.5 inch for your waistband, right? And then you mark at 9 inches. This was what I measured. Waist to hip is 9. So mark at 9 inches. So here we have our waist to hip of 9 inches, right? So this is how it comes. So here is our waistline, and here is our hip line, right? Our hip line. So now, after this, and this is our hemming line, or the hem line. Now after this, the next to do here is to apply your hip over 4. So with the hip we have is 44. So divide by 4, you have 11, because you have to divide your waist by 4 and hip by 4. So we have 11 as our hips over 4, because hip is 44. So you mark 44 from the fabric fold in this form, 44. Extend the line to come out just like this, maybe 1 inch across this way, right? And the next to do here is to apply your waist over 4. So the waist we have here is 36, over 4 is 9. So you mark 9 just like this, right? Now the next thing to do is to add extra inch on the waistline. So depending on how much inch you want to add, usually 1.5 or 2 inches maximum, but the least you can add here is 1 inch, right? So let's use 1.5 as our additional inch we need to add on the hip circumference. So you mark in this form as well. Now after this, the next to do is to add extra 1 inch or 1.5 as well on the waistline. You mark in this form. Now remember that on skirts, your skirt could be a pen skirt or could be a straight cut skirt. So if you're making a pen skirt, this line will go in this way, in this form. If you're making a straight cut skirt, it goes out all through straight line in this form. So we are making a pen skirt, right? So what you need to do is subtract 2 inches from the hip, or 3, depending on how fitted or how pensed you want the hem line to be. Now let's subtract 2 inches from the hip, which is 42, right? Because hip is 44. So divide by subtract 2 from the 44, that's 42. Now divide by 4, you have 10.5. So at the base here, you mark 10.5 and say add 1 inch here, right? Or you can add 1.5 just to pence it a bit, right? Now invariably, the simplest way to do this as well is to measure the total distance you have here. Let's say we have here to be 12.5. Now remove 2 from it, that's 10.5, which is still corresponding with the same thing we have here. So after that, then connect the lines in this form. Now in connection, it's advisable that you use your hip curve to do the connections. Now please watch how it's being connected. Connect the lines in this form all through this way, and then turn the hip curve to go this way, and then connect, making sure that it's giving you that curvature on a female body, right? Go all through this way, and then still connect this as well. Remember that we are making the whole allowances inside this, but usually when making patterns, they don't add these side allowances. It's been added on the fabric, but because of we don't have fabric to transfer the pattern, that's the reason we are going through this whole process. So now, after the connections, now the next thing we are going to do here is what they call waist slant or waist slope. Now remember that your skirt will be slanted by half an inch or 1 inch depending on how you want to slant. So let's use 1 inch in slanting. From here, mark 1 inch down, but I don't like to slant much so that it doesn't get too deep. So you can slant 3/4, right? Minimum. Now from here, mark 1 inch or 3/4 inch down this way. Then this slanting is not meant to get to the end of the fabric here. It should be this distance. They divide into 3 equal parts. So here is 9. So it should be somewhere at the first quarter, at the first part here, right? Because that is where your tummy bulge seems to end. So slash something of this nature. Make it to be too low, right? So go all through somewhere here. You could still slash to the end, there's still no problem. But I like to slash, come from all through here and then move all through this way. So this is my waist slant, right? Now the next thing to do is to get your dart position. Now the dart position or the dart point is simply your bust span measurement. The bust span, like I said, is the nipple to nipple, right? And with the bust span of this client is 9 inches. So which is divided by 2, that's 4.5. So from here, you mark 4.5 inch this way. Now, most people will be confused on where this dart should end. The simplest trick to this is to make sure that your dart is 2 inches above your hip line. So which is here, right? 2 inches above the hip line. That is the recommended part where your dart should end. Your dart should not be seen on your hip line. The minimum you can have is 1 inch above the hip line. So after having done that, then connect the line in this form. It goes all through this way to this point, right? And after which you mark half an inch on both ends, half an inch on both ends, just like this, and then you tilt your ruler to that very point, and this is your dart application. So this is our basic bodies for our darts. Then on the hem, make sure you go a bit away, just like this, so that when you fold this skirt, it falls within this range, so that it won't fall in or get shorter. So I do hope you understand this. So this is basically how to draft your front panel of your skirt. So if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, comment. Now let's do the back panel as well. So now to cut the back, all I did here is to get the same fabric or the same pattern paper and then place in this form. Now the thing here is on the back cutting, there are 2 methods you can cut the back panel that will still be okay. Now at the back, all you need to do here is to add your zip allowance all through this area, and you also consider if this skirt will have a vent. Vent is the opening at the back panel. That's a slit, what most of you call slits, or have a vent. So whichever one you feel you want to use, you go ahead and use it. So in this illustration, I'll teach you the simplest approach, to handle that. So before I proceed, I will have to first of all, decide on if I will have a vent or what. So let's learn the vent as well. It will help you to master the craft. So the vent we're going to have here will be 2 inches vent, 2 inches vent, right? It will have vent of 2 inches overlapping at the back. So let's keep it to this 2 inches, right? This is what we want.
So you keep it off that way. Now I'm trying to, pin this together with my tape. So now I have gotten all these whole directions. Now the next I will do here is to apply my zip measurement. The back we have a zip. So the zip measurement we have here usually is 1 inch from the end of the front panel. 1 inch all through this way. And then the vent length could be 6 inches or 5, depending on how long you want the vent to be. So let's do 6 inches from the 2 inches here. 6 inches. So the vents will start from here. So this is, okay, let's first of all join the back zip allowance. It goes in this form, right? It goes in this form, and then it comes down to this very point, this way, and this is your vent point. Your vent point. Now the back west will be raised by 1.5. By 1.5 or 1 inch minimum. Let's use 1.5 to raise our back waistline, or 1/4. Then the resin will be placed in this form. Please observe the curve here. It will be placed in this form all through this way. So this is how the back west will be done, right? So if you observe, the only thing different we did here was to add extra 1 inch here for the zip, and then 2 inches here for the vent, and then you will record all of these components. So let's cut that out so you can see how it looks like. So now the next to do here is to transfer the back darts, right? So if you have your tracing wheel, you can use it now to transfer, but because we are assuming that we are doing fabric cutting here, I will transfer with my marker so that you see how it's being transferred. Now you need to continue, with the dart position all through here, this way, right? And then indicate where your hip point is, which is here, right? Then you have to bring this line to go straight up. From here, it goes all through this way. So like I said, the back dart is 1 inch above the hip point. So from here, you mark 1 inch above, which is here, this way, right? And then connect the line to go all through this way, and then mark 1/2 inch on both ends, 1/2 inch on both ends, just like this, and then tilt it all through to this very point, all through to this very point, and you have transferred the back dart, the dart in front to the back panel. So this is basically how to draft your front and back skirt panels. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. See you on the next episode. Bye bye for now.